water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, there were 4 realms that lived in peace. They trained their young warriors to compete in combat sports and committed their very best to the fight in the main events, hoping to bring the coveted belt home to their people. The 4 elements weaved and flowed through their designated warriors, giving them great power, making their fights action-packed and always a spectacle to see with one's own eyes. Each fighter agreed to never push their elemental powers past the limit that could lead to catastrophe. Sadly, everything changed when the fire realm decided that they wanted total power and enhanced their fighter abilities, making them utterly unstoppable. In search of a champion who was born from the same fabric that spawned the elements, they have found him. A young man named Tarik Element Estrada, and he was to be their champion. And now it is time to meet such a champion.
So, Tarik Estrada. So, I'm glad he came, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So, you just came from training, huh?
Yes, I have, yeah.
So, how was it? How was your training?
It went by pretty well, we just doing my routine, coming in at like noon, getting in like an hour and a half of training and all that, with the training partners that I got. And yeah, things went smooth. No injuries, no nothing. I'm good.
Where are you training at right now?
I'm at Foundation, Chicago. It is a gym in Roscoe Village neighborhood. It's run by the head coach, Elias Cepeda. We run mostly like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but we do have like training sessions for like MMA. I'm one of the only fighters that's currently like active and fighting on the team. But we have plenty of other people that that we sometimes bring in from other gyms because we have affiliations too that help me prepare for my camps and all that. Got guys from other gyms like EKF or Intercept. We have some pretty close connections with other gyms.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because I kind of took a deep dive into your Facebook, and I saw you were training at Intercept, and they have a few fighters that have fought for us as well.
Yes, they are actually, and they're preparing and they're coming up with their fights as well, and we try to help them, and they try to help us. So it's nice, to have that close relationship to work with each other.
Yeah, that's nice. But question, what do you do besides train? Like, you're still an amateur. So it must be tough kind of managing a few things besides, training.
No, yeah, like I work a full-time job I work at Whole Foods, I'm a shipment receiver for it. So what I do is like a lot of incredible box lifting, 50, 80 pound boxes, like for 8, sometimes 10 hours straight. It's a lot on the body, so I make sure, I get the time to like, recover, relax when I can, get some massage therapy sessions every couple of weeks or so. But yeah, like other than that, I like to spend my time just relaxing, like listening to music, sometimes even writing songs too and all that. But I'm no like music artist like that.
But you are a metalhead.
Very much.
I looked at your profile and I was like, yep. Well, have you been in any concerts lately?
Oh, the last concert I was at actually was it was New Year's Eve actually, and it wasn't even a metal show. It was like an EDM show. Mm-hmm. Some big show by the name of Space Jesus. It was a fun, cool show. Got to hang out with a lot of cool people. Met a lot of nice people. Got to leave with them too, with some random people, and party somewhere else at the after hours. It was a fun New Year's Eve.
Must have been fun. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you're a fan of Lamb of God, but my cousin actually, I guess he liked the Facebook page, and they had like a show for free. The drinks were free, and it was all like Vans, I guess, really? Sponsored it. Yeah, and it was at this like warehouse that's kind of like a skate park. So I don't know if you're a fan, but you might want to check that out.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't listened to Lamb of God in a while, but man, like.
But still, for everything for free, bro.
Yeah, I would have so gone to that if I knew. Shit. Fucking A.
All right, so being an amateur, man, it must be hard trying to. I mean, what is it like? 3 o'clock right now, 3 p.m. Mm-hmm. So how do you find time to work and train though? Because, I mean, what do you work overnight?
No, I work like it's second shift, so it's like afternoons. So it can be from like, you know, anywhere from like 3 to 11 or like 2 to 10, sometimes even longer to 11. I just, you know, I make sure, you know, I have a routine during my day that I get started. You know, I get up pretty early, you know, to do my routine stretches, warm-ups, and then, you know, I head to the gym. You know, I get sometimes I only get like a good hour session, and sometimes I get longer when I don't work. On days that I do work, yeah, like I have to get my work done. It's short, but it's intense. And once I'm done with that, you know, I head on home, I shower, I get a quick snack, and then boom, right into work. You know, it's a grind for sure. You know, I won't lie. You know, it's a lot. You know, physically, like and mentally. You know, but as long as you have this though, it's the most important thing. You know, if you can get through all of that, you know, it's you know, it can be a walk in the park sometimes.
You're definitely mentally tough, because the way I know you is, if I'm not mistaken, you kind of came in at a last minute replacement for our Arizona versus Illinois card.
Yes, my last fight.
Yeah. Oh, so that was your last fight? Because I looked on Tapology, but sometimes they don't update it, so I wasn't sure. But you came in last minute, and don't take this the wrong way, man. When I saw you, I was like, either he's like a Nate Diaz where he doesn't look like a fighter, or this dude can't fight. But when I saw you fight, I was like, oh man, he surprised me. You surprised me, man.
Thanks. I do get that a lot. I seem unassuming too, especially when people like, you know, talk to me and like hang out. You know, like I'll admit my personality is very, you know, it's like very, you know, like softish. You know, I'm very easygoing, you know, per se. You know, I like, you know, I like to be chill, and you know, sometimes I clown and laugh. Then there are my moments where, you know, I just, you know, I'm hyped up, I'm wild, I'm like, you know, I'm just, you know, I'm just feeling it, you know, I'm up ready to like do whatever and do something crazy, you know. But usually I take that out, you know, like right in the gym too, you know. So I don't do anything crazy outside of, you know, my life or work, whatever.
So what got you into MMA? Like, did you used to wrestle before, box?
Yeah, actually, I wrestled in high school, and before that, you know, I dabbled, you know, with martial arts. Like, you know, I've always liked it, you know, as a kid, but I never like stuck with it. Was never fully committed. Like, I did karate when I was 8, did it for a few months, quit. Then when I was 12, I did taekwondo for like, you know, almost 2 years actually. That was something I stuck with for a while, and then yeah, I quit that, and then in high school, that's my sophomore year, not my freshman year, but sophomore year, that's when I started wrestling. And then for me, that was kind of like the beginning of like, you know, finding like my love for MMA. You know, I started watching it on TV, and I saw like, wow, it looks really cool. You know, just seeing like the first UFCs, and even like the Pride and the other organizations that were on. You know, it was so fun to watch, and I learned that like, man, wrestling is such an important tool for this, and it just made me love wrestling more. And so, but then after high school, you know, I didn't like do much. I didn't train or like, you know, be very active. You know, I was just, you know, kind of just got stuck with like, you know, college, and then, you know, the whole, you know, partying life and all that stuff. It was like that for like a good 2, almost 3 years, I say. Then after that, you know, I just like, I stepped back and I kind of looked at myself and felt like, man, like I want to like, you know, do something again that makes me feel alive. You know, I want to get back in shape. And you know, I looked through some old photos of myself when I was wrestling, and I'm just like saying, I miss that guy, you know, that really like, you know, hyped up wild guy that just loves, you know, the ferocious you know, competition of the sport, you know. And that's when I kind of, you know, picked it up again. Like 2014 was when I started dabbling again, you know, jumping from like, you know, gym to gym, you know, paying like, you know, drop-in fees. And then it wasn't until like 2016 was when like, you know, things, when I was trying to take it more serious, was when I joined this gym called TDC MMA. And TDC MMA was kind of where it all like started, because my current head coach was a student there who was assistant coaching actually. And you know, he's the one who really helped me, you know, like prepare, you know, for like MMA and everything. He helped me in my very first fight actually. And you know, and since then, you know, like I've been with, well, not since then, I've been with him after my very first fight, you know, I jumped to another gym, but then I later realized, you know, like, you know, I had it so much better, you know, like originally with Foundation actually, and my head coach Elias Cepeda, you know, he contacted me again, saying how I was doing, and I contacted him, say what's up. I visited his gym again, and from then, you know, I just, you know, I felt like, you know, I could get so much more out of him, especially because, you know, he believes in me. He's really helps me out, you know, really willing to focus and help me with any little problem, you know, I have with my game. And so that's when I came back to him, and, you know, I had three more fights into it, you know, with my second fight, you know, third and fourth fight, you know, it's been great, you know. I haven't lost yet, and it's been an awesome journey, you know, being back at Foundation and with him, you know.
That's good to hear, man. How old are you by any chance?
I'm 27 years old. I'll actually be 28 next month, actually, like a couple of weeks before my fight. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, at least you'll be able to celebrate afterwards.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's just gonna be chill, like on my birthday. It's just another day, you know. Just like go to the gym, go to work, train, eat, sleep, and then, you know, repeat the next day, you know.
So at 27, are you all in right now?
Yes, I am all in. You know, it's for sure my goal. You know, I want to try to make it to the pros. You know, that's the first and foremost like thing in mind. You know, I don't have, like, you know, these super crazy long-term goals, like, you know, like some other amateur fighters have, like saying like it's my dream, you know, to fight in the UFC, to fight the big leagues. Like that's where I'm gonna go. And like, no, I take it like one fight at a time. You know, seeing how I do in this fight, then the next fight, and, you know, and the first and foremost goal is, you know, make it to the pros, you know, because I know that, like, you know, this is an unpredictable sport, you know, shit can happen, you know, like because you know, your next fight could be your last fight potentially, you know, like you could suffer, you know, a career-ending injury, you know, not even just from fights, from training, you know, it can happen. So I approach it, you know, that from that perspective. So yeah,
That's a good way to look at it, because you never look past an opponent.
No, absolutely not. It's always, you know, one opponent at a time. There's no like, okay, I have to get through this guy because I want to actually take on this guy really badly and all that. Like, no, you have to like look first and foremost, like who are you fighting? You know, you have to learn about this guy, you know, because, you know, this is the fight game. This is a guy, you know, who's preparing, you know, that's taking it as seriously as I would to want to like hurt this guy. And so that's why I got to do the same thing, of course.
Okay. So, being an amateur, I know the preparation has to be different compared to the pros. Like for you, since you work and everything, do you just train like one time a week, or I mean one time a day, or like do you try to get like 2 in, or?
Yes, actually, like on my days off from work, I do try to get 2 sessions in. So like, you know, for today, like it's my day off, and you know, I have another session later on, like around the evening, around 7, I believe. And yeah, I try to get, you know, that as much work in, you know, when I have, you know, freer time from not working and everything.
How's the diet going?
The diet's good. You know, I generally, you know, like eat right. You know, I don't, you know, do a lot of, you know, the junk food, whatever. You know, growing up in my childhood, I ate a lot of like crap, especially sugars and candy. You know, it's like I look back and I'm like, man, that was just so much like abuse I put to my body. And like now I just like, okay, I can step back from that now and be like, you know, it's fine. You know, I don't need it. Like once in a while, you know, I have like, you know, something like once every couple of months I'll have like a deep dish pizza maybe. You know, I'm from Chicago.
Yeah, I was about to say
Chicago style. You know, you gotta have it all in. You know, like a big huge slice. You know, I can eat one all by myself too if I tried.
Trust me, I can too. So, were you born and raised in Chicago? Where's your family from? Or
yeah,
is everybody from around here?
No, you know, I was born and raised here. Yeah, my whole life. My family, they're, you know, they were born in 2 different countries actually. Like I'm mixed actually. My father was born in Mexico City, and my mother was from Ethiopia actually. So yeah, I know it's like not an everyday like mix you would see really, you know. But yeah, you know, it was interesting, you know, like, you know, getting 2 different cultures. You know, I know how to make Mexican food. You know, Ethiopian food I haven't like really know how to make, but I do like it. You know, it's good. You know, just.
So you're half Chilango.
Yeah. I've never heard it called it that way. But
really,
that's a funny way.
Really, that's what they call people from Mexico City. Have you ever been?
Oh yeah, I've been there like well, just twice actually. Like in my childhood, once when I was 5, and then another time when I was 10. So but yeah, and I got to meet all my cousins, my grandfather, my grandma there. Yeah, it was really nice. The time the times that I remember being over there, it was real fun.
How did your parents meet? Not to be rude or anything.
No, it's they met. They obviously met here in Chicago. They met in college actually. It was Truman College is where they met actually. And from there, they met together, and like that's kind of how it all started. Right there at here in Chicago at Truman College.
Nice.
Yeah.
Check out at Drogo Art if you want some pictures done, because he's creative as he does a lot of pyro work. I don't know what that shit's called, where you burn the wood and you make a picture out of it. That shit's dope as shit. Check out his page. At Drogo Art on Instagram, Facebook, and whatever you want.
What do they think about you fighting for a living?
Well, my dad, he likes watching fights. He's a big, fight fan, he mostly watches boxing, but he's gotten into MMA over the past, couple of years or so, and he thinks it's really cool that, that I fight, and like, he comes to, every fight, whenever he can, and he's been at my last, my last 4 fights actually. He's been at all of them, and it's awesome. My mom, on the other hand, she's kind of like, she doesn't like me seeing get hurt and all that stuff. Just like a typical mom. I know there are some moms, who are like out there in the crowd and they're cheering on their son, saying like, "Fuck him up, son, get him," and all that. But no, my mom is just a little different. She wishes that I didn't do it, but she still supports me. And when she saw me won a belt at my last fight, actually, she was so proud of me. She gave me a big hug and everything. Oh yeah, she was so happy for me, and loved that I won a championship for that. So yeah, it was nice.
At least you got to be there, man. At least you got the support system behind you.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That means a lot. Yeah. So you're looking at your next fight. Do you have a number of fights you want to do as an amateur before you think, or are you just taking this one at a time and not even thinking about the pros right now?
Well, that is interesting because at first I had a thought where like, okay, I want to give myself, like 10 amateur fights, 10 amateur fights before, I want to take that next step and go pro. But, it's all going to depend, on how I do, in my next fights. I don't want to like, obviously come in like, be 5-5 or something like that as with 10 fights. Then I'm gonna need more experience, more training, and just develop. I want to get a chance to develop my skills. The most important thing is trying to look at myself objectively, in every one of my fights, even when I win, and see like how much have I like worked on my game plan and done what I did from training and everything. So it's we'll see. I mean, it could be 10 fights, it could be less, or it might be a little more. But I would ideally like to get it. Develop my skills quicker. But that's just how the fight game is. You go at at your own pace at what you are.
Okay. That's a good way to look at it, though. At least you're not looking at the end yet. You're just still kind of looking at the path, trying to go through it.
No, exactly. Very much.
So, being an amateur right now, do you focus when you train more like on what you need to improve, or since you have a fight coming up, do you focus on like a game plan? Because you know, in the pros, they look at their opponent and try to set a certain game plan for them. Being an amateur, that must be hard though, because there's probably not a lot of tape. There's probably not.
No, yeah. Interesting though, with my current opponent right now, you know, he's got some experience, so he's got some tape out there that I was able to watch and see, and you know, there is a game plan that we have in store, and you know, I've always tried to, you know, study up my opponents, and like luckily there's a lot of tape on, like I said, of him out there, so you know, I'm able to watch and see. He fought one of my former teammates actually, so you know, I was able to get, you know, a good perspective on that actually. And yeah, one of my former teammates was when I was at Carlson Gracie HQ. This was after I left, you know, like TDC and Foundation the first time, and you know, moved over there for a year, and after a year, then I came back to Foundation. And during that year, you know, I had this one. He was one of my favorite training partners actually, and like I looked at their fight, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm seeing some things, you know, that I can do, you know, that I could work on, and I could probably do a little bit better actually, and you know, and pretty much, you know, have it set for, you know, when my fight comes up.
Yeah, you guys definitely have a height difference.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, you know, it can be an advantage and sometimes a disadvantage. You know, like when I try to sometimes, you know, if it's a grappling, you know, I always have to make sure I'm much lower than he is, and like, you know,
dropping
my hips much lower than him, and you know, it's a little more work, but you know, that's how it is, you know, sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. So do you have any? So we talked about before the fight coming up, but what about the day of, or even the day of the weigh-ins? Like, are you just trying to make weight? Like, is your team trying to help you out?
Yeah, like just during the week, it's like, yeah, my mindset is all about just, you know, making the weight, and you know, I have, you know, like a diet, and I know how to restrict myself, you know, from certain foods and all that, and I make sure I still drink a lot of water, and just get the right time, you know, like in the sauna, and you know, just making sure, you know, I'm not like, you know, burning out too hard, you know.
Because you are a 145er, right?
Yes, I fight at 145.
And you're a tall guy, man.
I am. Like, I walk around like, you know, just a little above 160, you know. My heaviest, honestly, I could be like, you know, 167, you know, 168 when I'm like, if I'm out of shape and like haven't been doing anything for like, you know, a couple of weeks or so, you know. But generally, you know, I'm in the 160-ish range, you know. And yeah, like, you know, it's 15, 16 pounds, you know, to cut, you know. I just give myself, you know, like at first I remember I gave myself like 2 weeks, but now I feel like it's a little bit more important to give myself more extra time, you know. Cutting 15 in 2 weeks I feel is a little too much. Give myself, you know, more of a month in advance to, you know, to really like diet down. Like, I mean, because I already eat right. All I now have to do is just, you know, measure out, you know, like, you know, how much, you know, I'm getting in, and just, you know, always making sure I'm staying hydrated. And then, you know, coming closer and closer, you know, I bring those calories down little by little, you know, and always check my weight to see how it goes down. And yeah, and it's been working out for me.
So you're 27 now. Do you think you're gonna try to move up? Because it's only that cut's gonna be hectic in a couple of years, man.
No, yeah, I know. And I've thought about this too. I've thought about, you know, as I get older, you know, my metabolism will, you know, slow down eventually. I mean, it hasn't slowed down, like, it's slowed down a little bit, not too much, honestly, because I have a crazy fast metabolism like generally. But when that does happen, yeah, I want to, like, you know, move myself up to 55, you know, and I'm doing my, you know, my things still to like prepare for that in the future. Like, I lift weights. I don't lift weights like crazy like during training camp. I tried at one point, and you know, it can be impractical because, you know, like, I'm overworking myself and I get super sore muscles. So, you know, I just, you know, I ease it in, you know, pick my days, you know, when I lift, and then on my days when I don't have any like fights coming up or in training camps, you know, that's when I can, you know, look to, you know, try to like bulk up and get a little bigger, you know, just, you know, gradually and everything. So
right now you're just gonna stick to 145.
Yeah, I'm just, you know, sticking to 145. You know, see how it goes. You know, one fight at a time. You know, see, like, if I'm starting to realize, like, man, this cut is starting to get, you know, a little harder on my body, then it's like, okay, then it's time to switch gears and, you know, try to like look to move up to 55. You know, and that's when I gotta, you know, pick up the weights again. Like when I'm not in training camp, just start building strength for sure. Start building a lot of strength.
So Sanchez is the guy you're fighting, right?
Yes.
What's his first name? Do you remember?
Sorry, Chris.
Chris Sanchez.
Chris Sanchez.
But so I know there's a lot of tape on him. I forgot that we had that tape out there and everything like that too. So do you have a message for him?
Well, only message for him is like, bro, you better bring your A game, because I know I am, and it's going to be a fight for sure. I know you've been in there before. You've been in wars, and I have too. So it's gonna be a fight for sure. But I know I'm gonna be the one coming out victorious in this one. So, hell.
Well, you look confident. I have to stay neutral though, so I can't say anything.
Oh yeah, I know that for sure.
Yeah. So, by any chance, I know you have the family support. I know you're working, but do you have any sponsors that are kind of like helping you out, or anybody you want to shout out right now?
Currently, no. I don't have any sponsors right now. That's definitely something I'd like to look forward to find in the future. Like, haven't really been like scoping it. I'm just kind of still just mainly just focusing just on my training and what I have to do to prepare for my fight. Like that's really it.
So who finds you your fights? Is it your coach? Do you kind of like try to look out for yourself and just kind of look?
My coach, he helps look out for fights. He knows some promoters and matchmakers, and he's able to look around and and help me get the connects for a fight. Once in a while, even a promoter will sometimes reach out to me and he'll DM me and ask if I want to take this fight, and I'm like, okay, cool, and I look into it. Me and my coach both look into it, and and we'll decide from there, if it's a good time to take the fight.
So you just slide in your DMs real quick?
Yeah, very much. It's like it comes out like that. Like, oh, it's a surprise. Like, I've been offered a fight here. Wow. I once actually got offered a fight out of state. Actually, it was in Ohio. Actually, this guy just randomly DM'd me and asked me hey Tarik, we're looking to have a fight within the next 3 weeks. Actually, we want to get I think it was a last minute replacement too. And they even said that they'd be willing to pay for my travel and my hotel too. But the problem with that, it was just the timing of I caught an injury around that time. This was the summer of 2019, and what was this August? Yeah, this was around August, late August, early September. I pulled my back muscle actually, and and it just I couldn't really do much. It was just 2 months of just inactivity, and actually it was just physical therapy. I was just going through 6 weeks of physical therapy, and then just and 2 months of just no training actually. So yeah, it was just the timing was just off for offering the fight.
Yeah, you got to take your time, especially being an amateur. If you tear something now, man, along the years it's only going to get worse. Worse.
Absolutely true. Yeah, so it's important that I stay healthy. Try to prevent injuries and do everything that I can. To I still do my physical therapy routines. For my back, to make sure my lower back stays strong. Every morning. So so I don't forget, and so that something like that doesn't happen again.
At least you're taking care of yourself, man.
No, absolutely. You have to in this game.
Oh, definitely. So that would have been a great experience, though. Going into enemy territory, that would have been a great experience for you to see how you reacted to it and everything.
No, absolutely. Especially as an amateur too. That's something that doesn't happen often. It's I know as a pro, it would have to. I would assume it'd have to, happen often. Traveling from state to state to find some fights. But yeah, it sounded exciting, too. It was what it was, at the time.
Well, if you win this next fight, man, there's a chance you get to travel.
No, there could be. Yeah, I'm sure, with me posting all my fights and my activity on social media and stuff, it gets other promoters looking and stuff and noticing okay, that's kind of what I assumed, and saw him saw me on my social media, and he DM'd me because he was interested because of that. So
hey, it works.
It did.
So you're just planning for your next fight. What are you gonna do after though? Like what do you do after? Like after the fight, all the adrenaline's gone. Like, do you just go, hey, I got to get back on it. Monday, I'm going to start training again. Or do you kind of see where you're at with injuries, take some time off?
Yeah, I always try to, see where I'm at with injuries. I usually take a week off, and like, right after my fight, I want to give myself like a big meal, and whether it be like, deep dish pizza, or it could even be tacos and shit, it's just always, a big celebration meal, and then, dial it down, like I said, give myself a week to relax, and then then after that, then I'm back in there, back in the gym, easing in. If I have like, something like, that's a little sore or injured, I just, I gradually, work into it. I don't train too hard, when I obviously, I'm not in fight training camp, obviously, just pick it up slowly, and then, once those, injuries, have subsided, then that's when I, pick it up again and, look for the next fight.
Well, it looks like you know what you want, man. It looks like this is what you want to do. You're taking your time, but you can tell that you're taking everything well. You're not only taking the pressure, obviously, from the last fight well, but you're taking responsibility and rehabbing yourself, making sure you're good for the fight, training as hard as you can. So what do you have next? Like, besides this next fight, do you just want to try to see a quick turnaround, or are you going to try to take your time with it?
I mean, shit. I mean, like I said, I'm just taking my time with it, one fight at a time, seeing how well I do in this fight. Obviously I get the win. It's gonna be real nice, and I gotta like look back and see, like how did I win, and see. Even with my wins, I always try to see, like what can I learn from there. There's some things, that I did or didn't do, like in my last fight, I look back and see like, okay, I noticed that like, I got a couple good shots, but I dropped my hands for like a second too, so that's something I got to work on again. I looked at my last fight and I said, okay, my wrestling and my takedown defense, has to improve, because even though I won, I did get out wrestled. I got taken down a few times, I was able to weather that storm and like, pick up the submission. But that was one thing, I had to keep in mind is, like improve my wrestling and get out of the bad habits of like, with my striking and all, not dropping my hands when throwing combinations sometimes, things like that.
I like that you're 4-0, but you're critiquing yourself like if you've lost recently.
Yes, no. It's sometimes like in my mind when I think about like how I win fights, I sometimes think about like how flawless like I'm going to like do it. Like I think to myself like, okay, I'm gonna beat this guy, and like in my mind it's flawless. Like I make no mistakes like in the fights. Like I'm able to do this and that. Like it doesn't even always be like, oh, I take him out in 10 seconds or something like that. It's sometimes I also think like, okay, I'm picking him apart. I'm doing this and this and that. I take him down. I get in the mount, ground and pound, and I go for that submission, whatever. And then when the fight happens, it doesn't obviously come out exactly like how I imagine, but I still do some of the things that I do, and then there's the unexpected of losing some offense, and having to be on the defense and everything. But yeah, that's just kind of like like I said, how I see it.
What's your social media pages? Let everybody know.
You could find me on Facebook. I go by Tarik Element actually, so it's kind of like a little nickname that I give myself. Like I've had like so many like different nicknames, but it's Tarik Element, okay, Tarik and Element, ELEMENT, Element. So yeah.
You don't know how hard it was to find you when I first started looking for you, since you were gonna fight. I'm like, there's no Tarik Estrada. It's not here. I can't find him. I don't even think we had a picture of you because I couldn't find you on Facebook.
I know. It's it can be tricky. I know. I realize that too. Like, people might have difficulty finding me. People have told me that many times. Like, well, maybe I should add the Estrada right there at the end. Just like, oh, of course, so they can find me.
Do you have Instagram, Twitter, anything else that they can find you at?
No, actually. I mean, I've been meaning to get an Instagram, but I've kind of been procrastinating on that. when I do, I'll definitely, find time on my social media to promote that and let everyone know, like, hey, I have this Instagram, follow me there. But at the moment, not right now.
All right. March 27th at the Cicero Stadium. Catch Tarik Estrada, 4-0. He's going to try to make it 5-0. Good luck, man. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Today we have Tarik Estrada.
Make sure to amp it up at the end. Okay, here.
We're going to be talking about some crazy stuff right now. We're going to talk about his background, his 4-0, going to try to make it 5-0. This interview is going to be... Nah, that's up.
You look
me, right?
awful.
So
I
just
can
fuck
you
me.
look awful on the ass, dude. Huh?
What?
Dude, that woman just heard you say that.
Sorry.
And by the way, that costs money. I'm not... That man's gotta make a living somehow.
$20 is $20, bro.
Who said $20? No. I'm not cheap like those other people you hang out with.
Hey, Costa Rica.
Third time.
No, I didn't come up with the title until like a minute before we started.
I know, I edited it.